everybody, and hope you're doing well. So this week we're going to talk about two kind of interesting topics, time management and stress management. And it's always a fun topic to talk about with students because at some point during your time as a student, and even when you're done with college, we're all going to experience issues with time management and stress management. So I'm hoping just to give you some strategies on how to deal with that during your time here at Carteret. So let's talk about time management first. Favorite quote of mine when it comes to time management, it says the bad news is that time flies, the good news is that you are the pilot, meaning that you can control the way that you handle time management, and you can control some of the strategies that you can incorporate in your day-to-day to help time management go a little bit smoother in your life. Just some myths and facts about time management. I hear these a lot from students, is that time management is just common sense, it takes the fun out of life. The big one is I work better under pressure. And then if you're like me, it's like no matter what I do, I won't have enough time. But in reality, time management really does increase your productivity. It does reduce stress, your self-esteem, improves self-confidence, and then it really does help you reach your goals. So what are some tips for managing time for the college student? So let's just take a look at some of those. Eliminate distractions. Of course, this is a big one for all of us during this day and age. We all have our cell phones, we have our computers, we have all the apps, so Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. The main thing is when you're really trying to finish that paper or that take-home test, whatever the case may be, eliminate those distractions, put it away, give your phone to somebody else, tell them not to give it to you, whatever you can do to get off of those apps and get away from those distractions. Kind of going hand in hand with that is to be focused on the task at hand. So as it says, have you ever been so focused that you just seem to be in the flow? So that's when you're just immersed in that activity. You haven't given yourself another opportunity to do anything else other than that paper or that test or that project or whatever the case may be. Use a calendar. So I'm a bit old school. I still have my paper calendar because if I didn't, I really don't know where I would be on a day-to-day basis. Definitely have some kind of scheduling, whether that be, a lot of people are putting it on their phone these days, or go to Dollar Tree, buy a dollar calendar and just start writing down when your assignments are due, future due dates, immediate due dates, things you need to get done. It really will make you feel more at ease and less stressed if you do have some kind of calendar. If you're not a calendar person, a checklist is a great thing to have. If you ever come into my office one day, you're going to see about 50 post-it notes scattered throughout my desk, and that is my version of a checklist. So anytime I have something to do, I write it down, I put it right in front of me, that way I know it's something that I need to do, and then it gives me such joy when I get to take that post-it note and throw it in the trash can, because that means that I'm done with that task. Get organized. So can't stress this one enough for time management. It really will help your schoolwork go quicker, your projects, your deadlines, if you are organized, and I know we could probably all use some help with that. Schedule rewards for yourself. I used to do this all the time. It was like, okay, if I finish this one page of this paper, I'm going to, play on my phone for 15 minutes, or I'm going to watch a TV show for 15 minutes. Just be careful with rewards, because sometimes when you do reward yourself, you get sucked into that distraction, and so that 15 minutes can turn into 30, 45 minutes, even an hour. Get a good night's sleep. So that's definitely essential for, being on time, helping out with time management. At least 7 to 8 hours of sleep. An all-nighter is probably not going to help you when it comes to time management. Now let's talk a little bit about stress management. And the reason why I put these two together is because stress management and time management really go hand in hand. If you have a good grasp on time management, more likely than not, you're going to be less stressed. So what is stress? Stress is essentially our 911 system. Stress in itself is an interesting way to think about it. It's neither positive nor negative. It's really just our perception of that stimulus to determine whether or not it's going to be a positive or negative situation. So something that might be stressful to one person could be completely exciting to a different person. It's just the way we react to it. Typical causes of stress, so not having enough time. So again, going back to time management. And this is just a list. I know for students, the main thing that stresses them out, at least it was for me, is basically deadlines. So when papers are coming up, things that are due, maybe we haven't planned out far enough advance. We didn't have that calendar that told us that this paper was going to be due at a certain time. And so we get stressed out about it. What can stress do to you? So I'm not going to read all of these, but you can see stress can really play a terrible part, or have a terrible effect on your health. So it's something that the more you can eliminate stresses in your life, I know that's easier said than done, the better, because you can see everything from brain, heart, stomach, pancreas, intestines, reproductive organs. Stress can definitely have an effect on all of those. So I've talked a lot about what stress is. How are we going to go about and reducing it? First and foremost, you have to change your mindset. Like I just mentioned, if you think about stress, stress is the way that we choose to react to something. So you have to do basically mind over matter and choose the way you react to that deadline or that stimulus or whatever the case may be. A very helpful thing that you can think about are the 4 A's to reducing stress. And so we're going to go through each one of those. The first A is completely avoid it if you can. So I'm not going to read all of this to you. You can definitely pause it and read it on your own. But some things you can do to avoid stress. It says, take control of your surroundings. Avoid people that bother you. Whew, yes, if we could all do that. Learn to say no. I know this is a big one for me. I have a tendency to say yes to everything, and then I get stressed out with everything that I have to do. At some point, you've got to turn to somebody and say no. Whenever you say, I always have somebody, my boss always tells me, whenever you're saying yes to something, to somebody, you're saying no to something else. So just always keep that in mind. Ditch part of your list if you can. So prioritize things that need to get done. Things that are on that C list, if it's a hectic day, just unfortunately it's just not going to get done. And we just have to, again, mind over matter, learn to accept that. If you can alter your surroundings or the people that are around you, so if you can respectfully ask somebody to change their behavior, make sure you communicate your feelings openly. So I have a tendency to put on a front with people if I'm stressed out, but honestly, telling people how things are going really helps in the long run. Manage your time better, and then state limits in advance. So when you know that you're busy and somebody comes to talk with you, just say, hey, look, I've only got 5 minutes and I've got to get back to doing this. Again, it goes back to time management. If you want to get something done, you've got to learn how to say no. Accept. So at some point, you just got to accept that some things aren't going to be able to change. And that's really hard for me. I know this is a big one for me, but I'm really working on it. It's just, it is kind of my saying, it is what it is. So there's some things that you just can't change, and you've just got to accept what it is. So talk with someone. If something's stressing you out, forgive. So if you're stressing out over a home situation, sometimes it's just easier, so you're not stressed out, to just forgive and forget. Practice positive self-talk. And then definitely learning from your mistakes. So accept your faults. You missed that deadline on that paper. You're upset about it. The instructor says you can't turn it in. But at some point, rather than just be stressed out about it, you got to accept your mistakes, learn from them, and then move on. And then finally, the last A is to adapt. So sometimes we get so stressed out because we just have to have that A in that class. You have just set your standards so high, and everybody should strive, to get A's or B's or whatever the case may be. But at some point, if it's just not working out, you gotta adjust your standards. Maybe instead of an A, you learn to accept a B in that class, so you're not so stressed out about it. Practice thought stopping. So if you can stop yourself from, being gloom and doom, stopping those negative thoughts in your mind, reframing the issue, looking at something from a new viewpoint. If you can adopt a mantra, for example, I can handle this, and just repeat it to yourself over and over through tough situations. Create an assets column. So what are the things you're thankful for? What are the things that bring you joy in life? Sometimes if I focus, on my little 2-year-old, he brings me a lot of joy in my life. So when I'm getting stressed out at work, I'm thinking, okay, this is what I have in my life to be thankful for. And in the grand scheme of things, he's the most important thing to me anyway. And then at kind of what I was just mentioning, looking at the big picture. Is this certain stressful situation going to matter in a year from now or 5 years from now? Is it really so important that I'm so stressed about it at this moment? And then just some fun ways to reduce stress. So if you're just feeling so overwhelmed in your classes, some things that tend to help people, adult coloring books. So that's kind of a new, in the past couple of years, come up as like this new fad. Really does help though quite a lot. If you're interested in music, instrumental music works well, especially when you're working through like a paper or a project. If you're anything like me, chocolate helps. Keep it in my office all the time. If you ever need some, come by my office. I'll have some for you. Going outside, taking a break, exercising. If you have a dog or a cat or a pet or whatever the case may be, just spending time with them definitely helps reduce stress. Performing a random act of kindness for somebody else. So you would be surprised how much just it'll bring you joy by just doing something good for somebody else. And then if you need to take a break, getting lost in a good book definitely helps reduce stress. So I'm hoping maybe you've gotten a couple of tips today to help you with time management and stress management. And the activities that we're going to be doing, or the assignments that we're going to be doing this week, you're going to delve a little further and do some research on your own on some tips to help you with stress and time management. Of course, if you ever have any questions, you can always email me.